It is Quest,
The Adventure Game Podcast. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Jess,
I'm Ben, PS_Garrick.
Decaf Jedi.
We're those respectively on Twitch and YouTube. How are you doing, Jess?
I am doing well, Ben, but I've got to come to you with something serious.
Oh, okay.
And what I'm coming to seriously with you is our lack of seriousness. I feel like, and I hate to throw around this kind of language,
Mm,
I think we've been playing a little bit too much grab ass here at
no,
Quest, the adventure game. No, Ben, I've
absolutely
heard
not.
I've heard people saying that we spent upwards of 20 minutes talking about Oreos right off the top last
Uh-huh.
time around.
We spent
And
upwards of 30 minutes.
oh
Get your
gosh,
facts straight.
wow. So we talked for Oreos about 30 minutes and then about adventure games for what, about 15?
Well, I'm working to optimize it down to a very nice and dense 5 minutes.
You see, what I'm going to recommend instead is if you could do all of the Oreo talk at like 1.25 and then
Uh-huh.
maybe do all the adventure game talk at 0.85 speed.
Uh-huh.
I feel like then our listeners aren't going to notice how much more of our podcast is becoming about Oreos or sandwiches or something we saw on TV,
Yeah.
and maybe more will be about adventure games, like the title suggests.
You know what I've been watching on TV, Jess?
Oh, what have you been watching?
So my boyfriend grew up in the Southern church, and so I was like, oh man, we're gonna we're gonna watch Righteous Gemstones together
Oh
because he
man,
hadn't watched it. And so we've been watching Righteous Gemstones. And you know what? That first season is first season's probably the best one, which kills me because I have a lot of fun with the later seasons, but the first one is the best because I think it's the hardest on them. They deserve a
yes.
lot more contempt. And the first season is very nasty. Like it's like these people are not to be respected. And like the subsequent seasons are like, they're fun.
How's the boyfriend reacting for a first time viewer?
He's enjoying it, but he did say his comment was he was like, that's blasphemous. Like he would make
Oh yeah.
comments like he's like, oh my god, that's blasphemous. Like that. Well, yeah, whoa.
Well, you know what I've been I mean, again, the grab ass, we've got to just like, I mean,
Uh-huh.
we got to just like cut
Uh-huh.
down a little bit on it.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
I just finished binge watching the first season of The Studio on Apple TV.
I gotta watch that. Everybody's nuts about that.
Yeah, the big Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg
Mm-hmm.
series. Fantastic. Really
Mm-hmm.
good. The final two-part end of the series, or season at least, finale is so funny. Just slapsticky and wonderful. And if you're sort of an old Hollywood nerd, sort of telling an old Hollywood story in 2025. It's good stuff. It's really funny. I think I laughed harder at the finale, maybe than any other hour of TV in recent memory. So pretty good.
It's pretty good.
You know what
That's
else it
pretty good.
has constantly? It has like a
Full frontal
jazz
nudity. Oh,
drum. Yeah, that's it is weird that Seth Rogen is just hanging dong the
yeah.
entire
You see
show,
his
but
pepper.
you
Yeah.
get used to it. Yeah, you see the old pepper grinder. But yeah, you get used to it after like the first few episodes, but then like other characters are constantly talking about it, which then takes you out of the show again.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it's what it has that I love is the
Mm-hmm.
soundtrack is mostly sort of like jazzy percussion. So it's just
Okay.
lots of people like hitting on a snare and a cymbal as things get more and more out of control and slapsticky with like the tempo of the
You know,
just
I
getting
think
wilder and wilder.
I think that's a pretty good way to do comedy music. I love a percussive
Yes.
build in comedy music versus the synthy trombone, like the
Yeah.
Here comes a comedy.
No, the percussive
You're gonna laugh.
the
Like,
percussive bit's better, especially like when you get to like a moment where suddenly like the big comedic reveal happens and you kind of get that the rhythm of the percussion breaks down, or maybe it sounds like a cymbal almost falls off of its stand or something like that. So you got
see,
kind of thing going on.
I think the trick with comedy music is that it has to be like
A slap bass
it.
like Seinfeld.
Well, well, that's good too. That's incredible music. But also I'm saying like I think it has the quality of the comedy has to be up to the promise that the music is making to you.
Ah,
Because if it's like going "Ba, ba, 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 time to laugh," and then like you get the punchline and it's not that funny, like
mhm.
I think it's like a multiplier, right?
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're just like, I was told I'm gonna laugh right now, and I'm just sitting here with my arms crossed.
Mm. Now, again, we can't afford to get too off topic here, but I think that Tina Fey's shows always do a really nice job
Oh
of
well,
balancing the
yeah.
music and the comedy. Yeah,
Her husband, Jeff Richmond, does the music
yes,
on her shows, and the music is spectacular on
yeah,
all of them.
absolutely.
Uh, he was a Second City guy,
Oh yeah.
as was she.
Hmm.
But yeah, he was. That's a Second City thing is, and they'll also have it at like sometimes you'll see it at some of the other comedy theaters in Chicago. Um, is they'll have a like a pianist or something that like kind of like plays and kind of underscores scenes uh on the stage, and that's
Can
actually
you
always,
imagine being able to do that?
it's a very very specialized
I
skill,
know. I just can't.
especially
Yeah.
like at the Second City they're generally doing sketch and then doing improv, like it's
Hmm.
they'll do like a two act sketch show and then a like an improv set. But like I mean I've seen improv shows like at the IO theater here in Chicago, they'll sometimes have a pianist there who is just there playing music improv, and that just seems difficult.
Yeah, that's why I don't do it.
Yeah,
You
you
know me.
know.
I don't do anything I think I might be bad at.
Oh, yeah, that's
Th-
that's the long and the short of it.
That's why
Uh
everyone looks at me and says, "There's an underachieving success." That's how they. I'm proud of it, like Bart Simpson always used to say.
that Bart Simpson, I disliked the message that he was sending to our children.
During the 90s, when already they were getting so many bad messages from television,
Yeah.
the late 80s, early 90s, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Like
like
Murphy Brown, a single
Murphy
mother,
Brown.
unacceptable.
Thank you. I'm glad now, first of all, Ben, again, this is an adventure game podcast. We can't grab ass.
Did Capstone have a Murphy Brown adventure game?
Oh, how good would that be, though? That would be amazing. Look, a still digitized image of Candace Bergen, the guy who played Frank, the guy who played Miles. I don't know any of their names.
I did not. I think I've only seen one episode. I recently was just like, huh, I've never seen an episode of Murphy Brown. That was like the biggest show of the first half of the 90s,
Mm,
and nobody talks about it today. So like I put on an episode and I watched it and I was like, huh,
yeah, I only
that
started
was my
watching.
whole experience.
I only started watching when Dan Quayle recommended it.
Hmm. That is in like, in today's fucked up atmosphere of like American politics, it is like, why aren't they playing the classics of picking a fight with like a popular rude TV show? That like, why not go back to that?
That was such
Let's
a fun culture war to fight because it didn't
play the
matter.
game where, yeah, have like, like someone go like, I don't care for the studio, they're too rude, like,
I don't like how Seth Rogen's naked all the time.
yeah, like we just
Yeah.
don't, we really lost something where like the American right wing was just picking fights with television shows because they perceive them to be too rude.
They
Like,
swear too much on the bear. Why can't they be polite in that kitchen?
like we you know, I think that's really where we lost our way, was when it stopped being, it's like, oh, like the Simpsons, that little boy calls his dad by his first name. This
Oh.
is the biggest scandal that's ever existed. Like,
My school did ban the underachiever and proud of it t-shirt. That one was like explicitly forbidden, and then it was expanded to all Simpsons
Great.
t-shirts. And I had been the sweetest flea market bootleg Bartman t-shirt you've ever seen. He was on a skateboard. It was so radical. It was mostly on model, and I could not wear it.
Did Bartman say something like, you know, West Virginia's cool, man? Like, you know, like did he say something that was completely out of character for Bart? Just so, you know,
420,
really,
man. Yeah. No, it was no. This Bart did not have a speech bubble.
that's too bad.
No, those are always the best ones. You know, no. This sadly, I mean, it was a pretty good bootleg.
I stand with POWMIA, man. Like,
I always think of like Rastafarian Bart merchandise and some stuff. I mean, bootlegs. Now, first of all, Ben, we don't have time to talk so much about.
Here's the thing. We need to have a bootleg Bart that is like kind of crossed with the Punisher Thin Blue Line. I stand with the cops, man.
And Wiggum's there, but he's like in tactical gear.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to have a bootleg Bart that for all the, like, you know, the right. I mean, once again, American right wing. I got notes.
There are a lot of places where you could really.
There's a lot of places. Listen. I just have notes. Like they're just, they're just suggestions.
Yeah.
Just pick a fight with a TV show for being too rude, and then let's start, getting some bootleg Barts that are like espousing right-wing causes, like he's standing on like a skateboard.
Vance 2028, man.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we need to have that. Like,
just to balance out culture.
Yeah, like we just have to bring it back. I think that would really heal so many of our cultural divisions if we just brought those things back. And there's one other thing I would like to bring to the world, Jess.
Yeah?
There's one more thing, and that is a question. A very important question. Just
a question?
A question. What have you been playing?
Oh man, Ben. I have been deeply immersed in computer adaptations of America's favorite game show. I've been playing a whole lot of Jeopardy games lately. I've just been...
I love this answer, Jess. I love this answer.
I have just been loading up different versions of Jeopardy on different platforms and
this
just
is your best answer
Jeopardy
to this question that you've ever... Like, I've teased and I've made fun and I've given you trouble. That you're playing all sorts of Jeopardies is the best thing you've ever said in this segment ever.
What do you like about it? I know what I like about it. What do you like about this answer?
Because it's great. Like, because number one, it's very quintessentially you.
Okay.
It's checking out all, like being very thorough about all these different versions of Jeopardy. It's something that I just, if somebody said, Ben, one of your friends is checking out all of the different versions of Jeopardy, I'd be like, I'd stroke my long beard, and then I would go, I know who it is. All right, first, before you get to it, which ones are you playing? What are these which Jeopardies?
Oh gosh, they're hard to keep straight because all of them tend to be named Jeopardy. I started with the ones I had as a kid, which were just the DOS, Commodore. There was a Jeopardy second edition. Those are the 4-color CGA, just god-awful looking ones.
I think we had a Jeopardy for the PC Junior.
And that same company, I believe, did a ton of game show adaptations. They may have done remote control.
That was terrible.
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 Just terrible. But I mean, I started out with that one. That's the one I had as a kid. And then I tried out a little bit of Jeopardy 25th edition, 25th anniversary edition on DOS. I briefly played some Game Boy Jeopardy. I hit Jeopardy Deluxe Edition on Super NES and on PC. I worked my way up to a Windows 3.1 and then a second Windows 3.1 that was like a CD-ROM, like fully voiced, but they couldn't get Alex Trebek, so they just had a guy.
They just had some guy.
They just had some guy. He's wearing a gray suit, just like Alex Trebek might. But yeah, he was Alex Trebek, and I think that one
was just a guy.
It was just a guy, not a real guy.
Was it a digital sprite? Like, was it like a photo, or was it like pixel art of a man?
It was an slightly animated FMV.
So it was okay.
Yeah, it was a man. It was, and I don't even know if he's Canadian. It was hard to tell. You never mentioned it.
Jess, do you remember when Alex Trebek was the moderator for a debate in Pennsylvania? I think people running for governor. This is in like recent past. Like this was
really?
In the 21st century.
No.
He did a terrible job.
Do you ever watch Jeopardy? Are you a Jeopardy's-man?
If Jeopardy is on, if I could watch it, I'll watch it. I'll absolutely watch it. The thing is that until like, I think actually I just saw Ken Jennings post this on Blue Sky that they're finally making Jeopardy available for streaming. Which, like, he said something like, good news for, non-70-year-olds. Is in Chicago, Jeopardy plays at 3 p.m.
What?
And
it's supposed to play at 7:30 p.m.
No, and that's where it played. Well, because it was, and I'm sure this is how it is for you, because it's Wheel of Fortune, and then Jeopardy. That was how it was when I was back east, at least, at my station when I was a kid. And like for our foreign listeners, if you're unfamiliar with Jeopardy, I don't know. Did they? I'm sure there are foreign adaptations.
There have
of it.
to
That
be.
seems, but just
a quiz show.
It's a popular quiz show. Instead of answering questions, you're providing
answering the form of a question. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm working at 3, and I once I once spoke to someone. I met somebody that worked at our local affiliate here in Chicago, and I said to her, I was like, why does Jeopardy play at 3 in the afternoon? It's in the it's around that.
Yeah.
Why isn't it in the evening paired? Because Wheel of Fortune plays in the evening.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Jeopardy plays in the afternoon. And
they should go together, because Wheel of Fortune is for
idiots,
slower-witted viewers. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And you get them out of the way, and then they go to bed at 7:30, and then us brainiacs step in for our game show.
Did you see that clip of someone recent, and this happens on Wheel of Fortune, and I get it. It's hard to be on TV. Somebody had the answer to the puzzle on Wheel of Fortune, and it was wrong, and then if the next person goes up, it says the exact same wrong answer.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
And I was just like, oh.
Those
all of his coworkers
numbskulls.
are gonna play that fucking clip for him. He's gonna like walk back into the office, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, Clint." You know. All right.
Nice job up there on the wheel.
So Jess. But yeah, I'm not a regular viewer, but you know, Jeopardy is a show. When I go and I stay with my parents, when I fly back and I stay with my parents during a holiday, we'll watch Jeopardy together. I think Jeopardy is a quintessential, you sit and you watch it with your parents show.
Yes. And eventually it's how you show that your dad that you're the man now. Dog. That's what I use it for. I use it to school and dunk on my father, who was much smarter than me in Jeopardy when I was like 7.
Yeah.
But now I'm a worldly man who has learned about so many subjects, including things like the arts. And I return to dunk on him. And the circle's complete.
So is that all so you're up to Windows 3.1
Yeah.
with Generic Man. Have you played any other ones?
Not past that. My favorite is this weird version. I think it's Jeopardy. I think it's just Jeopardy Deluxe Edition for Windows 3.1 before it became a multimedia. That's the one that hits the sweet spot for me of low tech enough to be silly, but high tech enough to kind of look like Jeopardy.
Now, this is just so you're just talking about its aesthetics, but how is the answer quality in it? Like how
By that time it's not bad. It's like they're reasonable questions. They are up to date.
Answers.
I'm sorry, that's a good point. For 1994, like the old CGA version just has crummy questions, and a lot of times what it accepts as a correct answer and doesn't, its parser is really poor. By the time you get to the Windows 3.1 versions, it's a decent game of Jeopardy. I might stream one of these bad boys.
Is there multiplayer? Can we do that?
Oh man,
Can we do
Ben.
the virtual hot seat again?
I think this is a good
You'd
question.
probably smoke me because of like just our relative, like, because I'm sure the questions are a lot more contemporary to like 1994, and because of the, like our age difference, you'll probably like just beat the shit out of me.
Those few years, I will. And again, that's what
stream.
That's what I play trivia for, is to beat the shit out of people. That's all I care about. I get no satisfaction beyond that. So sign me up. But Ben, what have you been playing?
I beat Rosewater.
Rosewater, the new Western adventure?
From storytelling master Brian Moriarty.
Masterpiece in Western storytelling.
From our
Bob's games.
From our friend Francisco, who we've had on the podcast. I completed it. Here's the thing about Rosewater, is that it's a pretty sizable game. Now, I know that you've been working on it for a while, but even so, it's just like, you get an indie adventure game, and in my mind, a long, like, and this really isn't the case anymore, I think. Like, I think they are slowly moving towards, like, kind of, longer games. But that was like, I think I beat it in 10 and a half, 11 hours.
Wow, that is a beefy game.
It is a full beefy game, and it's a beefy game where I didn't even see everything in it, which is one of the nice. I enjoyed myself. What is fun about it is that it has different puzzle solutions, and then also like the center, like 2/3 of the game is like this road trip part, and it is like broken into like these little episodes and vignettes, which is really great. This is why I took so long to beat Rosewater, is that I would like just pick it up, complete one of those vignettes or those episodes, and I put it back down, and I come back to it like a little while later.
That's fantastic, though. Not enough adventure games can give you those little bite-sized experiences.
I love and the vignettes, like, you can get different ones depending on, like, there's a bunch of people in your road trip party, so those can be different based off of how, like, you've solved puzzles with them. And so it's like, I've beaten it once, and there's like, especially like kind of peering at the achievements, there's like definitely some stuff that like I didn't see. And I don't believe that you're able to see everything in one playthrough. I think it's designed. Well, no, because there are certain puzzles that you can only solve, like, it's like, oh, do you go this way or do you go this way? Like kind of like a Fate of Atlantis in with some puzzles.
Yeah.
But like I really enjoyed myself. Also, I never picked up a walkthrough. Never looked up a hint. I solved it all. It is like, it's not like a walking simulator, but it's not like, it's not hard. But it is, like all the puzzles are very eminently solvable. You just go around, you look at everything, you talk to everybody. Like it's just it plays fair with you.
And we've talked about
enjoyed
this.
myself.
For us, that difficulty level is right on target.
Yeah.
No, that sounds fantastic. I have it on my to play soon list, so I'm really looking forward to jumping into it. I've only heard good things. All of our listeners should, of course, go out and pick up a copy of Rosewater legally. That's important to say. Ben will tell you pirate, but I don't believe any of that. That's how he got his copy. But I paid for mine on Steam.
How dare you?
He went to a GOG crack site and just started downloading anything to get his hands on. He said, if I like it, I'll pay for it after, but I haven't seen him cut a check.
All right.
I'm sorry. That's not true. Francisco, if you're listening, that's not true. Ben showed me his receipt just now. He held it up. It's handwritten, which is odd, but I don't know.
Gabe handwrites me receipts and mails them to me from New Zealand.
Wow. From his hole.
We do have an email that I am not going to read. I'm just acknowledging receipt from which is we got a very fun request quest. I'll say it. We'll read it when we get to the episode. But I would, I'll solicit emails here to see if anybody has any thoughts of their own. We got an email from our friends at the Yum Yum podcast, who, or at least my friends, Jess doesn't know them. I've been on their podcast. Jess doesn't.
Wow, haven't even been invited.
No.
Weird.
But yeah, it is strange. Anyway, they Yum Yum had a pretty good question, which was, it's like, you've spoke like we've been talking a lot about American adventure games. What are some interesting foreign adventure games, and what are like, and is there like, are there any differences or anything like very distinct? Now I'll read the full email when we talk about that in that episode. And we definitely have, like, I've played a bunch of everything, as has Jess, and we'll talk about that then. But if you have a favorite non-American, non-United States adventure game that you have, shoot us an email at questquestpodcast@gmail.com. And bonus points if it is not like if it has a very different kind of game feel than
because
like
that's what I'd love to hear,
or like a Lucas type.
Yeah, and especially if it's a non-English game. Because I'm suspecting that's where Ben and I have the least experience.
Yep. I mean, other than the French games that made it over here, but we'll get there when we get.
And we're both fluent in French, so that's easy for us.
Yeah. Je suis un jeune fille. Oh, that's French I'm speaking.
C'est vrai.
I'm not French.
C'est vrai.
I'm American. All right, folks. I won't keep the theme of this episode a mystery any longer.
What is it?
Folks, we're discussing mystery adventure games today. mystery adventure games. Uh, Jess, you've played on your stream a bunch of mystery adventure games. I've played a bunch of mystery adventure games on my stream as well. And I thought it's kind of an interesting because on one hand, if like it seems like it would be something that kind of fits so nicely in with the like adventure games in general, right? Like
Right.
it,
I
it
mean, if
feels
adventure
like
games are all
something.
about solving problems and and figuring things out, I mean, yeah, it dovetails nicely with mystery as a genre, and I suspect that's one of the reasons we see mystery games, going all the way back to the earliest years. I mean, Infocom
Yep.
produced its fair share of mystery games. What Deadline, The Witness,
Deadline, Witness,
Suspect.
Suspect. Those were
Yeah,
three, and those are interesting. Have you ever played any of those? Have you
I
ever
have
played?
not.
So those are like when we were talking about this episode, we were kind of talking about like how you divide up some mystery adventure games, and Deadline, and I believe the later ones too. I forget if Deadline's the first one. It's as unfortunately this is all kind of fuzzy. So
I believe
if
Deadline was
you're
the first of the
yeah,
three.
if you're an Infocom head, my apologies. But the thing is that uh at least that first one I recall is like it's set on kind of a timer,
Mm-hmm.
and so
It
it's like
is.
you have deadline, duh, okay, actually, right. And so you have the people moving around in like the space, I believe the mansion, and so you're kind of observing and all of that, and the design of the game is built into like it's built into that you learn stuff and then you die, right? Like
Interesting.
that is the design of the game is that you kind of figure out it's like, okay, well, this person's here at this time. Okay, all right, let me write that down. And it's like, okay, this person's here at this time. Okay. Wait, all right, that item, oh, like, so it allows you like you solve the mystery in that way. And so like uh you know when Jess and I were talking about this, there are two kinds, I would say, broadly. I think you could break it out even further within there. But two kinds of adventure, like mystery adventure games. One where mystery is the narrative of the game, and one where mystery is the game itself.
Right. Yeah, I think there are a lot of games out there that adopt the aesthetics and the genre of mystery. But in terms of games that actually involve the process of solving a mystery, of making deductions, of eliminating suspects, of sort of using logic to piece together all of these clues and things, those are a little bit rare. I think that oftentimes what we find is these sorts of adventure games, because of the linear nature of most adventure games, because of the puzzle solving mechanic, oftentimes, while the genre may be mystery, it's much more that just as you proceed through the puzzles, it gradually reveals the solution to the mystery to you. Like, I'm not sure, like in Gabriel Knight 1,
Mm.
does Gabriel Knight do a ton of detecting so much as once you eventually click on all the right things, it just reveals sort of the next piece of the puzzle to you.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know that you're never having to make logical leaps. There's no room to deduce, much less to deduce incorrectly.
Yeah. You're
Um,
not. You're not playing when you're like as a player that's invested in the story of Gabriel Knight, you are like probably thinking like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next.
mhm.
Oh, do I think it, this might happen next. You might be like kind of, thinking through the mystery as you play it, but all of the puzzles in Gabriel Knight are generally informed by like their adventure game puzzles. They
Right.
are like I have to get a mime to harass this policeman.
Yeah.
Uh,
I have to distract Mosley long enough to get in his file cabinet or whatever. Yeah, just classic.
lots of distracting people.
Just like, yeah, and yeah, weirdly, Gabriel uses a mime every single time. It's weird, like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I
Well,
don't know.
Gabriel, like it's Gabriel is from a long line of Frenchmen because, as you know, like
Yes.
New Orleans,
Hmm.
one of like used to be a French colonial city. So
Yeah.
Gabriel actually, like, that's really part of the story of that whole series is Gabriel becoming
Yeah.
and getting in touch with like the mime history of his
Yeah.
family.
That's why they're called the Schengagers.
I was building a long runway just hoping that you had like a joke. Like and I was rewarded.
Ah, there it is. I mean, it wasn't a good joke, but we got it out there. That's the important
I
thing.
thought that was a good joke.
They can't all be winners. But no, I mean, this is much more common. This sort of process, you know, going all the way back to, Ben, have you played Mystery House? Have you
No,
played
I was going to ask you this.
the
If you had played
first,
it, Mystery House, Roberta
yeah,
Williams.
yeah, Roberta Williams's first game, the first, what's generally recognized as the first adventure game with graphics. I gotta tell you, they're not great graphics.
I think
It's
they're
honestly,
beautiful. Jess, you're terrible. I think
it's
they're absolutely gorgeous and perfect graphics.
well, you love minimalism, and you know
Yeah.
me, I'm a maximalist
Hmm.
in every
Hmm.
sense of the word.
I think they're
So
beautiful. I
yeah.
Every time I see that crudely drawn house, I'm like, wow.
Well, if you like crudely drawn houses, wait until you play with its crudely designed parser. I mean, not to dunk on. I mean, yeah, this is a groundbreaking, hugely important game. But I mean, again, very simple, very by the numbers
Did
sort of
did you
affair.
stream that? Like, I know you
I
played a
did
couple of the high
ages
res
ago. Yeah, that was a
games
long time
a
ago. And
long,
honestly,
long time ago.
yeah, I remember very little of it. But again, given its rudimentary form, there's not much room for solving a mystery. It's more, can you survive these murders long enough until eventually you're just down to you and the murderer, and that's how you figure out who done it. So, and I mean, I
Je-
guess I would ask, we talked about these two categories of games that have mystery as sort of the genre, the aesthetic, whatever, versus those that involve solving a mystery. Where do we think like maybe the Colonel's Bequest and Dagger of Amun
Those
Ra
are
on this? And
solving.
are they different from what are those? Okay.
Those are both of them are solving. So the Lorabo games by Sierra. Um those games are about like kind of exploration, deduction, and there are adventure game puzzles in them. There's more kind of adventure game puzzles in Amun Ra, right? Because like the
Yeah.
Colonel's Bequest has a lot of like just kind of like snooping around and listening and talking to people and just kind of
Be in the
figuring
right
out.
place, right time. Yeah, which I kind
Yeah.
of love. I like that it is less puzzly in that sense.
Like, yeah, you're just in a big house with a bunch of secret like with a bunch of little secret passages
Hmm.
which are very important in a mystery. And that's the
Yeah.
thing, is that's why there's no such thing as a mystery in the real world, because there aren't that many secret passages, because you have to have a secret passage if there's going to be a mystery. That's one of the
Yeah, if you don't
rules.
have a hidden point of egress, I don't know how you're having any kind of true mystery.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Walk through a door and murder somebody?
No.
You're going to walk
uh
through a bookcase and murder somebody.
yes, you're going to squeeze into the dumbwaiter.
Oh man.
uh the Yeah, I mean the Laura Bow games, both, and I'll lump in Crimson Diamond, which is a Laura Bow like tribute style game.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all and all three of them have like kind of adventure game puzzles, um and like kind of advancing narrative in kind of a adventure game, like traditional, let's say, adventure game way. But all of them require you to, like, if you want to get the best possible ending, to like constantly be like observing and ask the right questions and get the correct like evidence and
Yeah,
all
you're putting together clues. I mean, I know the
yeah
first time I played Carl's Bequest, I went through that game and finished it, and neither Laura Bow nor I knew a dang thing that happened. Like I'd not listened to the right conversations. I hadn't found the secret passages. I didn't ask people about the right things. And importantly, I drew the wrong conclusion at the end because you
mm,
are presented with the opportunity based on everything you know at the end of this game. Who is the murderer? And you can get it wrong in that game.
yeah
Which that again, I think puts it
you can
closer
get
to
it
this.
wrong in all three like
Yeah, that's right. It makes it closer to solving at that point because
yeah
again, you're having
exactly
to put evidence together to deduce and draw conclusions ultimately, which I do think gives it more of that solving element that maybe, like Gabriel Knight 1, I think is light on. I would argue maybe Gabriel Knight 3 wraps back around to it, and with some of the bits with the Sydney computer stuff, that ooh, that Grace does. Oh,
did you
and
eat something? Are you
no,
okay? Are you having a
mm,
little like
oh,
is there something like what did you have
oh,
for dinner?
oh,
Oreos?
oh, just
A
Ben,
big bowl of Oreos?
Ben.
You
Yeah, I
had
think
it with
since
a
the last
knife and
time we
fork?
since the last time we talked, didn't you tell me that there were now salted pretzel Oreos,
Chocolate pretzel. Chocolate
chocolate
pretzel.
pretzel
Chocolate
Oreos?
because yeah, chocolate pretzel Oreos. Yeah.
Chocolate pretzel Oreos. I mean, we can't really get off on this tangent, but have you tried them yet?
No, but I go to like a tiny little grocery like I go to like I haven't been looking for them. Also the thing is that my Oreo love affair was almost entirely confined to 2020. Like
Mm,
Oreos were like a nice little stay-at-home treat while I was like sad and alone and couldn't leave the
yeah.
house.
You're
And
not the
so it was
first person who's turned to Oreos when sad and alone, so that makes a lot of sense.
right. And so it's like, I mean, I'm not gonna say that Oreos are like kind of tarnished and remind me of that really awful year.
Hmm.
But
But
I
no, I mean,
haven't had that many Oreos
yeah,
since the year 2020.
no. But for dinner, I had steak salad. Um, what was like? I think for me, Gabriel Nat 3. I mean, I was making sort of upset tummy noises. That Le Serpent Rouge, again, fluent in French.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
That means the roguish sea serpent.
Oh,
But that whole puzzle with Grace having to like tap into her sacred geometry learnings and put together a whole
we've
uh,
talked about this. That is one of the
I hate it.
rare puzzles with its own Wikipedia page.
Yeah, and I hate it. But it is probably one of the cases where the Gabriel Knight series gets the closest to you're really having to apply information, draw some
Mhm.
conclusions, piece together some clues.
Right.
And I mean, for me, it was incomprehensible.
Here's here's a
Ugh.
important question for you, Jess, and this is kind of on topic. How big does this podcast have to get before your dislike of this puzzle ends up on the reception page of this Wikipedia?
Oh,
Like
this is a great question.
it feels like we have to get a little bigger before we
Mhm.
can end up on the reception because there's reception. It's like Le Serpent Rouge puzzle received generally positive reception, identified it as both a renowned and revered puzzle by Incubator Games CEO Reddick Konchwitz. Uh, Apologies if I mispronounce your last name, sir. And writer Jack Allen, respectively. It is regarded by adventure game fans as one of the
Oh,
greatest puzzles ever created.
citation needed.
Now there's a citation right here. Citation 8. It
They didn't
goes
ask me.
to Edge Magazine.
Amateurs.
It goes to Edge Magazine number 36. Doesn't say what page. Um,
That was
just
like
says
contemporaneous. Edge magazine number 36 would have been like when that game was out. Come on, like that's
Edge
like a year or
Magazine
two.
Archive.
Come
Let's
on.
go to
Come
the Internet
on.
Archive. We're gonna check out Edge Gaming. All right,
Contemporaneous.
so wait, okay. Let's see. All right, so that is it. It is of course on the Internet Archive. Edge Edge Magazine number 36 was oh, it has like this Y2K style. It makes it kind of hard to read. Come on, when was
So-
this?
Okay, let me see if I can get you an answer. This is going to be Edge Magazine number 36. Okay, buckle in. That's September 1996, which the game. What year's Gabriel Knight 3
Yeah, wait a
come
minute.
out?
Wait a minute.
Ah!
Wait a minute.
That's
No, I don't believe that's correct.
3 years before it came out. But
No.
I'm
No.
looking at
This
the
is
cover.
Oh yeah, we have to call up
Huh?
Grayson.
Huh?
We have to call up Grayson right
Can you get him on the
now.
line? Can you get him on speakerphone?
We have to call up Grayson right now.
Oh my
This
gosh.
is the biggest case that this podcast has ever. We have to be on the reception because there's
We
been
cracked
this
this wide
citation.
open.
There's been this citation that's been sitting there. Who knows how long? I don't know how to check the edit history. We deserve to be there, so we could say Jess, Professor Jess Morrissette, Professor
PhD,
That's right.
MA,
MA.
BA,
BA
all those.
says
Several.
that he
Yeah.
hates this puzzle. Also, and then this will have a rare apology within the on the Wikipedia page where it will be like, also, we're so sorry. Before it said that this was one of the greatest puzzles of all time, we cited Edge Magazine, and we were wrong. Now,
I've never been this furious in my life, but we did solve a mystery.
we did solve a mystery. You know what is another good? All right, here's a question. Would you call Hypnospace Outlaw a mystery game?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Because yes, absolutely. Yes, because yes.
Because it's a game about like kind of observing and piecing together
mhm.
clues and kind of navigating. And so then therefore I would also add like her story
Yes.
and telling lies and shit, what's the other the other FMV Sam Barlow
Are you thinking
of the actress
immortality?
Immortality, thank you. Yeah, like all those are mysteries, like you're
Yeah.
piecing because those games like the so like Laura Bow and Crimson Diamond in those games have kind of like, very explicitly are tributes to Agatha Christie.
Absolutely. Yeah, no question.
And they all kind of end with like kind of a drawing room like, reveal. A game like Hypnospace Outlaw or a game like all those Sam Barlow FMV
Mhm.
games that I just mentioned, those are about observing and like piecing together. And you could say, well, it's like, well, Ben, like then like isn't like King's Quest 1 a mystery game? No. And I won't extrapolate. If you say
Yeah.
that, you're stupid.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Come on.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
No. Come on.
Come on.
No.
No.
Absolutely no.
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 All right.
Oh wait,
Now
I've got an email here from a listener. I don't know how they're sending this or as we're recording it, but it says, what about King's Quest 1? And I guess to them I'd say
no.
no. No.
No, absolutely no.
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 I mean, he's wearing the wrong kind of hat, first of all.
Yeah, that's right. Wrong. Now, Jess, what type of mystery game would you say Hugo 2 who done it?
I've never played Hugo 2 Who Done It. I've actually never played any of the Hugo games.
Oh, you should stream them.
Yeah.
That's a one night stream where you knock off two of them and probably skip the third.
How, I mean, does it rise to the level of mystery?
No.
Okay, it's just again,
It barely is a good
mhm,
adventure. Like, I mean, I wouldn't call it a good adventure game.
yeah,
I would call it charming and strange.
yeah.
But I
Have you?
wouldn't call it good because it's the mystery is just the
Mhm.
plot of it. It has nothing to do with what you're solving. And there's it's just like, and in Hugo 2 Who Done It, you're just kind of wandering around the backyard of a mansion for the bulk of the game, just solving arbitrary like mysteries until you end up back in the mystery house, and
Mm.
like some plot happens and then the game's over.
Ben, have you ever played? I like now we're just asking if we've played games back and forth. This is good content.
Mhm.
Have you ever played Caper and the Castro from
No, I've heard about
1989?
that. That's that is a, historically significant LGBTQ game. What is Caper in the Castro? I know the answer to this, but Jess, please go ahead.
Yeah, I
What is
mean,
it?
you've summed up a lot of that. It's a Macintosh mystery. That again, yeah, there's I believe a famous drag queen in the Castro district who's gone missing, and you are the private investigator who has to carry out this investigation to track them down. Again, it's significant because it is generally recognized as the first explicitly LGBTQ game, which is to say, actively engaging with LGBTQ themes. It's also notable it was released as charityware, with the game urging players in 1989 to donate to various AIDS charities if they enjoyed the game. It was also later re-released for commercial purposes
Right.
after being completely straight washed.
Yeah, there were. I knew that. I knew that there was a straight washed
Yeah.
version of it. Have you played either of these?
I've played the original, the Caper and the Castro before it was washed. I mean, and it's a very simple. I mean, where it's fun is just with some of the humor and the wordplay and the ridiculous names of the characters. Like I'm wanting to think the guy who kidnaps the world famous drag queen is maybe named something like Duncan Straightman or something along those
Great.
lines.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. It's fun in sort of a silly way. But again, it's an interesting early example all the way back in '89. Now, one I haven't played that I think our oh man, our listeners would be so mad if we didn't talk about this series that I know you have more experience with. Ben, Tex Murphy. Does
Yes.
is Tex Murphy
Yes.
solving mysteries, or is it a mystery story without much mystery solving in it?
So it's a
And there's a
little
lot of
bit.
Tex Murphy. This may
I would
vary.
say that the so I've only played Under a Killing Moon, which is a
Okay.
game that I adore.
Mm-hmm.
I really had a great time playing Tex Murphy Under a Killing Moon, and I recommend it to anyone. It has a deeply unpleasant movement scheme, but once you get over that, it's fine. You'll get over it. It's okay. Grow up. Grow up.
Come on.
Um, grow up. Come
First,
on.
and no.
Grow up. Anyway,
No. Yeah, just yeah, come on.
come on. Come on.
Just
And
come on.
yeah, how about it? Now, w- Tex Murphy is, I would say it's a little bit of a combination. Like it is Under a Killing Moon is uh generally kind of linear and puzzles. And then I know that like the Pandora Directive is very branching and has a bunch of like roots and stuff like that. And I believe that is also the case maybe with Overseer, and I haven't played the Tesla Effect. I don't know too much about that one. Um, but I would say it's a mystery game because like, or it's more of a like an experiential mystery game in the sense that one of the reasons that I had such a good time playing the Tex Murphy, playing Under a Killing Moon, um, and beyond the fact that it has extremely charming low rent FMV,
Yes,
which I really enjoyed.
with some great like hard-boiled detective narration and some wonderful things like that. Very
Yeah,
funny
it
games. Yeah,
knows it knows what it is. It
yeah,
knows that it's like a corny little like.
absolutely.
But anyway, so it's a early 3D game. You're like, so this is where like the movement is such a terrible pain in the ass. Is like you're moving around a 3D space, and the controls for it are like you move forward by moving your mouse forward. It's terrible. Anyway, but the what is so cool about that is that you do a lot of observing and exploring 3D spaces as this detective. And uh I I had such a when I played it, which I think was like 2022 or something, it was a couple years ago. Uh you know, even like 30 years later, it felt like something I had never played before. This exploring and snooping around 3D spaces and finding things and like putting together clues and like tracking movement in 3D spaces was something because the majority of adventure games are 2D, or at the least aren't like free movement 3D. So it's like so
Hmm.
Myst, which is like very like about observing and piecing together. It's Mr. Mystery game. Yeah, we'll
Oh,
we'll come back to that. But uh like I I think that the way that it provides you with what you like to solve the puzzles is very like mystery like, you know,
hmm.
in the sense that like versus it's like you have to, have a mime do something.
That classic chestnut.
Is Myst a mystery game? I don't have the answer to that. I
Well,
don't
I
think it
mean,
is, but
it's practically you
it's
can't
kind
spell
of.
mystery
uh,
without
I
mist.
mean, it's kind of right there. It's kind of saying that to you.
Yeah,
I mean, it is like by our
is
extremely
pissed a
broad. Oh, pissed is
mystery.
absolutely but by our extremely broad definition, like sure, because like mist is all about observation, but
Hmm.
I
It
think it's more
doesn't
about kind
feel
of like
right.
that pure like it you're not really like kind of solving like a mystery crime.
No, Jules Verne is in a different section of the library than Agatha Christie.
There you go. All right,
There
case
you have it.
closed.
Well, another
Another
mystery solved
now
by the
now speaking
by the
of
Hardy
trips
Boys.
to the library, Jess, I know you've played a bunch of similar to that you've played a million different versions of Jeopardy. I know you've played a fair amount of adaptations of Sherlock Holmes. Most
I have.
recently, you played what, that 1992, 93 one, right?
Yeah, the serrated scalpel.
Mhm.
That one was quite a bit of fun. I enjoyed that one. It's very much a standard point and click game. I think it's a great example. And first of all, it's a game with some gorgeous pixel art, some interesting puzzles, some moon logic puzzles that no human being could reasonably solve. But it's a charming enough game. But definitely, I think it falls into that category of you solve adventure game puzzles and then it reveals the mystery to you as you move forward. There's not a whole lot of deduction. There's some evidence gathering and some cross referencing some files and some things like that.
This is tying now. I think to help the definition here, it's that the deduction action that you do kind of moves like the story forward as opposed to puzzles that are just like kind of there because it's an adventure game and they're just kind of blocks.
Right. Absolutely. I also played the full motion video Sherlock
Right.
Holmes Consulting Detective, which, if you've ever played the board game version of that, it is literally exactly like the board game. down to using the same cases as the
I
board game uses.
I believe those FMVs, at least one of them, has from the like the Sci-Fi Channel seasons of Mystery Science Theater, has Bill Corbett, who voiced
Oh,
Crow, a younger,
oh,
like when he was in his 20s,
interesting.
like a
Yeah.
younger Bill
Hmm.
Corbett who was
Hmm.
Crow and Brain Guy.
Yeah.
I believe he's in those. I know he's in some
Mhm.
FMV Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. And those are a little bit more deduction based, and there's room to get them wrong and things like that. You know, maybe the Sherlock Holmes games they're most fascinating to me, though. And this goes back, I think, at some level to your talking about Tex Murphy and how fun it was in this 3D space to poke around and look for clues
Right.
and things like that. Frogware's Sherlock Holmes games. They've developed a number of games through the years. Ukrainian developer Frogware. Um, two of their, actually, I guess they are their two most recent now. Sherlock Holmes Chapter One and Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened, which is actually a remake of an earlier 2007 game. Both fantastic games. And what I love about these is they are sort of free-form, almost open worldy type games where you're running around in third person as Sherlock Holmes. There's some light combat here and there, but for the most part, it's mystery solving. You're going from case to case, investigating. Chapter one is especially focused on that open world element where you're kind of going out in search of cases, and you have this whole island of Cordona that you're exploring with your childhood pal John. This is just a fantastic game in the sense that it not only gives you that 3D experience if I'm on a crime scene and I'm actually having to examine clues to figure things out, but it also uses the mechanic of sort of the mind palace.
Okay.
Yeah, where you to once you gather pieces of evidence, you can go into deduction mode where
Mm,
you're literally stringing together, you know, a suspect with a piece of evidence you found and a possible motive you heard somewhere else and putting them together, and then sometimes they coalesce into, okay, I've made a deduction
yeah.
that's now part of my
Oh, that's
notebook
cool.
basically.
Is that
And then
finish your thought. Sorry, go ahead.
and I was going to say and sometimes you can draw the wrong conclusions, you can
Mm,
accuse the wrong person.
mm.
The game keeps it ambiguous. I mean, it is very much, if we're talking about a game based around piecing together evidence and making your own deductions, those more recent Frogware Sherlock Holmes games do that beautifully.
I'll have to check those out. I haven't played those. I was
Ben, I think you will love Chapter One. The Awakened is very good too. The Awakened is a Cthulhu story.
mm,
Like Holmes stumbles across a Cthulhu style cult in London, and it sends him on a adventure that takes him all the way to New Orleans
oh,
and back. But it's both of them are fantastic games. But Chapter One is really a beautifully designed and just like wonderful mysteries. The character of John, your sidekick, is really top notch. I think you would love that. I think all of our listeners, every one of them, who I don't even know a lot of them, would all enjoy Sherlock Holmes Chapter
I
One.
don't know about 100 people. Are you kidding me?
No, I only
Now,
know like I know you,
yeah,
Grayson,
right,
Francisco,
yeah, Francisco, Richard.
yeah, Richard.
That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much everybody I know. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the exhaustive list.
I was going to say, when you're talking about the Mind Palace, is it kind of like how in Blackwell, like you
Similar
can,
to that.
yeah, like in Blackwell, there's a similar mechanic where it's like
Yeah.
you can combine, like you have a notebook, which I
Mm-hmm.
believe Dave Gilbert said that he took that from Discworld Noir, which is a game neither of us have played, and
Yes,
is
but
also a
would be very
total pain in
relevant
the
here.
ass to get working.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people say is the best Discworld game.
Yeah.
But in Blackwell, you can take like two ideas and like combine them, and
Mhm.
that kind of helps you like, you know, as you try to solve your little ghost mysteries.
Right. I mean, it's sort of a more elaborate version of that,
Right.
but very similar.
I
There's
have to
also a
check
similar
this out.
mechanic. Yeah, there's a similar mechanic in Alan Wake 2,
Mm.
which isn't exactly an adventure game, but also isn't exactly not an adventure game, probably in some ways. So, yeah, I like that element. For me, it was one of the first detective games where like it kind of got that magic of I
Yeah.
felt like I had combined things
Right.
in this completely like unique to me creative way. Where
That's
it's like, no, those two items just wouldn't have combined together if there was no no logical link between them. But it gave me that creative spark that mystery solving in its best form should. That
maybe
feeling like when you figure out a mystery before you get to the last chapter of the novel.
right. Maybe we'll put that on our stream. Maybe I'll say maybe Jess, maybe that will be your redemption recommendation.
Ben, I think you'll love it. It's
I
funny.
think that
It's
one I feel
good.
pretty confident about.
Yeah, I, everyone I know who's played it is just like, this is a good game. I know Grayson enjoy, and I don't mean to talk about Grayson so much. I'd rather be talking about Oreos than Grayson.
Yeah, me too.
But
I'd rather be
yeah,
talking about Hydrox than talking about Grayson.
got it in there. Nice job.
There we go.
But there we go. But no, I mean, those I would definitely recommend more so than some of the other Sherlock Holmes games I've played. Honestly, although again, I didn't love Consulting Detective. It's very tedious in the same way the board game I find to
Which
be a
one is
little tedious.
consulting
That's
detective?
the FMV one.
That's that MV one.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's. Have you played the board game, Ben?
I've not. I don't know if I've played any Sherlock Holmes game.
The board game for Consulting Detective
Hmm.
like comes with a big map of London and a bunch of newspapers that you have to comb through every day and like look for clues in those, and then like a reference book that tells you locations to go to. And it's almost like that becomes like a choose your own adventure where if you go to the right location as part of the right like case that you're on, it may have like, oh, you arrive there and there's a person you can talk to and you find out an important clue. And then others, if you've gotten it wrong, you just kind of get like nothing when you arrive at those places. It's nice in the sense that it can be played as a single player board game, but ultimately, I don't know. It has this mechanic, and that ugh, the video game has it too, where it's like Holmes solved this case in 4 moves. How many did it take you? Well, it took me 34. So I
Yeah.
guess I'm just
Shut
not as
up.
good as Sherlock Holmes.
So this was like a VHS board game, like that famous Klingon Star Trek board
The
game.
edition I have is not a VHS.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just a straight up board game
It's
with a
a
whole bunch of
straight
billies
up
in the
laser
box.
disc.
Yeah, it's a straight up laser disc. Which, since I don't have a player, I kind of had to like hold it up to the light and try to guess what.
Yeah, like you squint at it and you're like, I
Yeah,
think, like if you look close enough, you could read
yeah.
it.
Sherlock Holmes, I think, is saying I'm his best friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
Saying that you're very smart and handsome.
that's what I
Uh
want to hear from Sherlock Holmes, because if he says it, it must be true.
Also on the literary front, those of you who've watched my stream know that we played one of the uh, Nancy Drew games
Oh,
on our stream, which we've been thinking about returning to
really?
Nancy
I
Drew.
thought you swore you would never play another Nancy Drew
Well, I
game.
didn't have a good time, but sometimes, you know,
As we talked about when we talked about streaming adventure games, sometimes not having a good time is a good time for others.
yeah, sometimes exactly. I was just trying to repeat exactly what you were going to say. I don't know what I was trying to say there. Yeah. Um, I mean, listen, I'm playing a dog shit game right now as we record. I'll probably be done by the time this comes out, but it's like we're playing Amazon Guardians of Eden. That game sucks, man. Like it's not
Yeah.
fun to play. Like
It's no Flight of the Amazon Queen.
yeah. Uh
But no,
ugh.
yeah, no, that game looks miserable. I'd never played it before. Like I said, I'd been circling that one, and I'm glad that I never got around. I'm glad you got to it first.
Yeah. But so the Nancy Drew. So we played Warnings at Waverly Academy. like I think 2 years ago, and I was really excited to play this because I was just like, oh man, there's a million of these Nancy Drew games.
And
So
people
it's
love them
and yeah, and they
intensely.
have quite the
The Her
following.
interactive games. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, and these are important games historically within the industry in terms of games that I guess were
that's
created in
that's
terms of
right. That's right.
a
I'm
female
the bad
audience. And
guy.
yeah,
We're
I just want to stress how
making it
important these
clear,
games were. Yeah, and how
making
many
it
people love them.
clear
Yeah, please continue, Ben. Why didn't you like this female-led game?
because it wasn't fun. Like I didn't have a
Yeah.
good time. It wasn't fun to
Mhm.
play. Like the the thing about it is that it like I was really excited because I was like, oh, this is gonna be a mystery game and we're gonna solve mystery stuff and I'm gonna like and it's a game made for like kids. So that will be nice too. It'll be
It should be charming.
charming, low difficulty kids mystery game. And what it instead was just like there were charming like and the thing about the Her interactive games, and this is fine, is that they're wild like they're super low budget. Like that's one of the reasons why they're able to make a million of them. Uh like they're super low budget. So it's like you don't have that much to really explore. And it's like you just kind of have like a couple people that you go around talking to, and it felt to me like you weren't really doing that much. Like there was a little bit of mystery like solving, but a lot of it was like kind of busy work puzzles and also like doing chores for people.
Yeah, didn't you like have to work as a fry cook or something as part of this game?
Yes, there was a mini game that you were required to play. There were a couple mini games you were required to play, but the most annoying one was that you worked at a snack bar and you would like it was kind of like working at the Monolith Burger in Space
Yeah.
Quest 4. Like it was just like you kind of assemble people's snack bar orders on a timer. And it's just not fun. Like it just wasn't. It's just like get this, this, and this, and it's like okay, all right, now get this, this, and this. Okay, like there wasn't anything fun about it. Like it wasn't that entertaining. Um, and like that was my experience with a lot of it was it was just like a lot of stuff where I was just like mm,
Yeah.
uh-huh, mm.
Yeah.
And like some of the puzzles I was like again that was like this is made for kids. Some of those puzzles were hard.
Smart kids out there.
Yeah, listen, a lot of kids are smarter than me. Yeah, you don't have to send us an email at questquestpodcast@gmail.com and say I solved all of the Nancy Drew games on the hardest setting, and I was 12. To which I say, great, I'm
Ben,
stupid.
is Police Quest 4 open season mystery game?
Yeah, the
You're a
mystery.
detective in it.
The mystery is why did they make this? And you're using your deductive skills as you go from scene to scene and go, ugh,
Ben, I own a boxed copy of Open Season now.
why?
Because I was at half price books and it was sitting there at a low cost. I never imagined buying it, but then I'm just like, well, there's a Sierra game sitting right there. Now, notably, it's for like objectively and subjectively one of, if not the worst game they ever made. I mean,
That's like yeah, that's a
it's all
pretty
it's kind of problematic that I own it. The more I think about it, but
it doesn't have I don't believe if you get it like if you purchase it as part of like the Police Quest collection it comes with this. Maybe it does. I believe that open season came with like a video interview with Daryl Gates
I think it did.
where like he talks about how he was so cruelly treated by the
Mhm.
media.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I was just reading an interview with disgraced LAPD police chief Daryl Gates from an old issue of Interaction magazine just yesterday. And he was talking about how important it is to remember that the police are part of the community, not separate from it. And, that we should always remember that. And boy, Daryl Gates, great person to bring on board to replace one of the greatest adventure game designers of our time. and a true mystery man himself, Jim Walls.
I mean, my understanding is that Daryl Gates didn't really get his hands dirty with the design of Open Season in the way that Jim Walls
This
did.
brought him in to do a quick
I
racist
think,
pass at the script at
yeah,
the
like he
end.
just was like, but make it a little more racist, please. uh,
But that's not a
probably didn't
mystery.
say
We know he's a
please.
racist. God rest his soul.
Sure. But yeah, the Nancy Drew games, I didn't enjoy the one I played. And Grayson said to me, Ben, maybe we should play another one recently. And I was like, sounds great. Sounds like a lot of fun versus I know I'm not going to have a good time. Even talking about it, like now I'm just starting to feel ugh.
Ben, just play Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1.
Well, no, I
You will
mean,
be
I'll probably play
delighted
both.
at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to do. All
You know,
right.
you could get twice as many viewers if you were streaming 2 games at once.
That's true. Now, Jess, is there any other mystery game that you would like to discuss before we close the book on this forever?
Ben, I think we can say case closed.
Great. All right, folks.
You've done it again.
We've done it again. We made it all the way through a quest that was 2/3 adventure content. If you found that less interesting, blame that on Jess. Now
I told Ben no more grab ass, and you know I'm serious when I lay down the law like that.
mhm, mhm. Now, you could shoot us an email at questquestpodcast@gmail.com. Are there any non-United States adventure games that you enjoy, and any that feel like they're not working within kind of a American idea? Shoot us an email at questquestpodcast@gmail.com. Do you have any questions or episode ideas? Shoot us an email there. You can please rate and review this podcast. You've heard it from everyone, you know? Everybody
Yeah,
hates that part when they but you know what?
time to pay the piper.
It's time to pip pop pip, as they say.
Yep, all
Um
this free entertainment, and we ask so little in return.
yeah, we listen. Yeah, come on. Come on.
Ben's been wanting to start charging for these episodes, and I've told him no, Ben, we can't.
We can't because that would require us to do extra content. It's already hard enough for us to record one a week. And we already have a free Discord. Like, what sort of Patreon bonuses can we offer if we don't have enough to, like we have to so
We can
yeah.
release the recordings of the 10 minutes before we go live where we talk about Oreos just one-on-one
Yeah.
before inviting our listeners in, because that's usually what our pre-stream talk is about too. So yeah, we just add that in.
Yeah, and that's what the PS and PS_Carrick stands for, pre-stream. Uh and
You guys usually hear his postscript.
join us next week where the mystery is what will next week's podcast be about? Join us then.